welcome to Rebel Base Radio with me, Jim, and my lovely co-host, as always, Nat, the real Jedi Princess, over there somewhere.
I'm here, over here somewhere.
This is episode 11 of Rebel Base Radio, dealing with episode 3 of season 3 of The Mandalorian. There's too many numbers going on.
There is. Absolutely. I agree. Too many numbers to count and to kind of keep an eye on.
It's
at this point, that's why at this point I am only referring to the Mandalorian as their chapters, because there's
that's fair. That was my phone going off to tell me that I'm live on YouTube. I'm like, but that
happens to me. That does happen to me when I'm on, for example, when we're on my channel and I'm streaming to Twitch. Like, my phone will give me the notification. I'm like, manage your Twitch board over here.
Yeah. Everybody's here.
Oh my gosh, yes. What?
My love. Numbers is hard.
Numbers is hard.
That noise was my phone. Yeah. I'm gonna throw it over there so that if it goes off again, no one can hear it. So yeah, what was the episode called, Nat? Because I can't remember.
The Convert, because I just watched it. Like, I was able to avoid spoilers the past couple of days. I mean,
so you only just watched it today?
I just watched it today.
Wow.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I think the only thing I had a feeling that was going to happen, and we got it, but we got it in a way that is very different. And I don't know if we'll obviously talk about the episode. But there was a meme of Mando and Boba going around. And I was just like, I think that was him. I don't know. I have to go back for the third. I will say it was, I didn't even realize we were in the same episode because so much happened.
Oh, right.
In just one episode.
So this is the first one I've actually only watched once. Sheena... Everybody's here this evening. It's lovely to see everybody. So yes, this is the only first episode that I've not watched twice, and I think it's only because it was long, but not in a bad way.
No, it was I felt engaged.
It needed to be that long as well. But I just think that I don't know about you, but I've seen a lot of people online talking about this episode, and there's definitely varying reviews of how this episode went.
Yep, I agree.
And for me, I really, really enjoyed it. I thought it was great.
I thought it was an amazing episode, and obviously I'll tell you. I just tell you why at this point. One of my favorite planets in all of Star Wars is Coruscant. I always have admired Coruscant. I think it's one of the most high-tech, high-advanced planets out there. Obviously, it's the center of the galaxy. The Galactic Senate's there. The Republic. That's like, everything is based out of Coruscant. And for the first time in my entire life, from watching Star Wars and seeing Coruscant all the time in pretty much most of the prequels, obviously through Clone Wars, this was the first time I was actually stunned on how beautiful Coruscant is. And I'm just like, I have never seen Coruscant in this way before, and I am here for it.
We've never really had it in this
era, no
timescape ever, post Palpatine.
Correct.
Post Palpatine.
Even in the sequels, we didn't.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, in the sequels, it was never shown at all. But oh my gosh, it was gorgeous, and I was just like, "Yep, this is why I love Coruscant. It's just so pretty." And it kind of gave me. There was a scene when they were entering the little festival thing. I'm just like, is Star Wars going to Disneyland? Are we at a theme park right now with these little glow in the dark lollipops? It was just, I really loved how Coruscant looked. The buildings were beautiful. I don't know. I just really Coruscant's once again in my top 3 planets in Star Wars. And that this episode just kind of boosted that love.
For sure. Now, I'm going to do something a bit different this episode. We don't normally do this. I'm going to show some comments because we've got comments coming in.
Ooh.
Apparently, Palpatine's music was in there somewhere and I didn't see it.
I would have to watch it again to hear that.
I'll have to watch it again. Mando's section was 10 out of 10. The Andor section was a solid 8 out of 10. That's a very interesting point.
Okay, so I have a question because maybe then I just completely missed it.
Okay.
What Andor section are we talking about?
So everybody's saying that the Mando section is the bit that Mando is in, the beginning and tail end.
Yeah.
But the middle section very much felt like how the Andor show felt.
It's because it's the same director.
Also, it's because we're getting into the story.
Yeah.
It's not just let's go here and see
let's go
this
there.
and
Yeah,
there.
100%.
This is actually for the first time in Mando, we're getting that story that was sprinkled in at the beginning of season 1.
Right.
We're getting an expanse of that.
And what I love about it is because this is the rise of the New Republic. Once again, something we didn't really get to see much of because by the time of Force Awakens came out, they got exploded on Han's being Prime. But I was so that they considered that the Andor section.
Yes.
Just because it was a different part of the storyline, like
because it was very much it wasn't all guns and explosions.
Yeah, it was very I felt very happy, which I'm too happy watching this. Something bad's going to happen.
Oh, for sure. For sure. So what I'm going to do this time, I know every single time we do this, we talk about the episode all the way through, piece by piece. I'm throwing that out the window for this episode because I'm like, we've all watched it. If you're here and you haven't seen it, that's a mistake. So we've all seen it. We all know what happens, right? So let's just talk about it. Let's just talk about it as we talk about it. First and foremost, the opening was awesome with Bo-Katan. Now, something I noticed straight off the fact that came in later, which is because Cass had already watched it, right? She watches it in the morning and I'm at work. So she's like, oh, things are happening. And I'm like, okay, fine. So I was messaging her as I was watching it. And I was like, right, from the minute the Bo-Katan left that water, when she got in her fighter, all the way through, I was like, she hasn't taken her helmet off. I noticed that for a fact because Bo-Katan never flies with her wearing her helmet. She always takes it off. Even when she went to get Din in the last episode, she wasn't wearing a helmet. And I'm like, that's coming back at the end of the episode for sure, because she's been in the water. He's been in the water. Helmets. I'm like, this is coming back. Oh my goodness. And also then, obviously when they're in the thing and Din goes, this is the way. And she replied with, this is the way. It's the first time she's ever said it.
You see, I was trying to listen in very closely to see if she was, because I heard everyone else saying it, because everyone else was like, "This is the way," and I'm just here like,
I'm talking at the beginning, like right at the beginning, where she's just rescued Mando, right, no. and then Grogu tries to say it in the background. He's like,
"You were correct."
Yes. So we've got a lot going on here. People are saying stuff. Those tie-in scepters must have come from a Star Destroyer. They definitely came from somewhere, and there was a shitload of them.
Yeah, and I also feel like it looks like, or if anyone probably salvaged a Star Destroyer and just took the TIE fighters that were already in there, and they could be like pirates and thieves and shit.
I think there's more to it than that. With everything else that happened in this episode, there's more. You
think that's the beginning of the First Order?
No, I don't. See, political and sneakiness. That's why people class it as Andor. She clocked the music where they were looking at the top of the mountain. No.
The mountain? You mean the mountain that was in the middle of the on Coruscant?
I don't know. Grogu said the thing. He tried to say the thing. Why? Very good question. Why didn't she mention the mythosaur?
That I found very, very sketchy, because I was just like, Either she was okay. What are your?
I have a theory of this, right?
Oh, I love your theories.
I have a theory on this. Me and Cass have spoken about this. So during the last episode, very much it was all very much a case of her talking about stories, how she didn't believe the stories. None of this is real. It's just made up. It's nonsense. But then in the last episode, when she was talking about her father and said that he died in battle, and then Din was like, this is the way, you could see she took a step back from at that point. Then when she was reading the plaque and you saw Din take a few of his bits off and get into the water, you could see that that was affecting her in a certain way. And then she sees the mythosaur, right? And then she's coming out, and all of a sudden, all those things that she believed were stories is all true. It's all true, all of it. The Force, everything, right? So for her, she is kind of taken aback by everything that's going on, and she's like, maybe I've been wrong this whole time. It's a real crisis of not faith, because she never had it, of lack of faith, I guess. And so I think for her, she's like, I'm still trying to process this. I don't know whether or not to bring somebody else in, if they're just going to think I'm crazy or what. So, and that then reflects on the end part where she kind of, I think Bo-Katan, even like before the whole section of seeing the mythosaur, I think when she had got to, I can't remember the name of the planet where all the Mandalorians are, she'd have got there and the armorer had said to her, well, you've been redeemed as well, she would have been like, don't want to be redeemed, I'm not interested. But she didn't say shit.
I was surprised. I was like, this girl is very anti all of this, and very, but I personally think since she had lost everybody, like she has no one following her anymore. And you know, the whole thing about the Mandalorians is that they are a clan of people, like they are a family of people. So I think when she said that she was being redeemed, or she's been redeemed, and everybody was kind of giving her the acceptance, like pat on the back, I think that for the first time in a very, very, very long time, because this is even before she joined Death Watch, because I don't even think they really were family in Death Watch. I think they were just clan. I think they were just together for a purpose to get revenge on the men.
Exactly.
And now, so here's for the first time she's feeling like she's with family again, something that she hasn't felt in a very, very long time.
Not just family, but the potential of a resurrection of what could be Mandalore as well.
That's true.
Like there is a lot going on there. Matt says, I think the Empire is doing something in Mandalore. That's why they got there so fast. Very possibly. And why people think Mandalore is uninhabitable again.
Is that who I think it is?
Yeah, she's got Omega as a profile picture. I'm pretty sure it must just be to piss Sems off.
I love it. I'm here for
she's sus. Who? Bo-Katan is sus. Don't be saying any bad words about my Bo-Katan. Thank you.
I was very happy that I was very shocked that she didn't back out immediately, saying well, and I said that the armor said to her, it's like, you could leave at any time. You can leave whenever you want.
Yeah, for sure.
And so the fact that she just stayed there and once again didn't take off her helmet. I thought she was gonna say she was like, oh, I'm only keeping my helmet on because Din told me to be respectful and to have my helmet on. But she didn't say anything.
I actually think she was doing that on purpose.
Because she was wanting to
because like I said before, every time she's gotten in her ship, but the first thing she does is take her helmet off, put it on the side so she can fly. And she didn't.
That's true.
And I think there's something to that. Music playing in the background when they were discussing the top of the mountain on Coruscant.
Yeah, I'll have to rewatch it.
Okay.
But yeah, because that's the only mountain I'm thinking about in the episode, because they said yes, this is the mountain. This is you can see all of Coruscant on the top of this mountain, and I'm just like, that's literally looking like a rock.
Yeah, it's a rock, which just goes to show you how built up Coruscant is.
Yeah.
So that was the Mando part, and I really enjoyed it. The Andor part, if we're going to call it that, I really enjoyed it, but I have to say that I didn't trust that woman from the moment I saw her.
I thought there was something very sketchy about her from the beginning. Because the second, like, here's the thing. She rode with Moff Gideon's crew.
Mhm.
I'd never trusted anybody from Moff Gideon's crew ever. Like, I just didn't like, they were just all very sus on how many things happened in that episode. When I saw her again, and he, like, the doctor, Peshing, was just like, what are you doing here? I thought you, like, went off, like, with the rest of Moff Gideon's crew. And then other people were just like, you were part of Moff Gideon's crew. And she's like, yeah, but, like, I'm different now. And I'm just like, there's no way you would have been different in that. I mean, yes,
that short space of time. Bearing in mind that the doctor was always kind of, because he helped in the first instance. He helped in rescue Grogu, so he was always teetering on that edge anyway.
Yeah, he didn't like the fact that of what the Empire was doing, or what the resurrection of the Empire was trying to do.
She was full in, so for her to not only be like, whatever it was they used, I can't remember the word, so quickly, I was just like, no.
I also found it very, because it took me a while to realize what Amnesty, like, Village was. And I'm just like, oh my God, these are people that once fought for the Empire, are now rehabilitated by the New Republic to serve them. And that kind of, and someone did mention it, someone mentioned it in the show, saying this is how, it kind of shows you how the New Republic's process is compared to the Empire. It's like, they're not the Empire, they're not going to kill you. Like, if you're a traitor, like, they want to rehabilitate you. And I kind of found it to be very much like AA, or like if you go to rehab, or if you go to literally like a rehabilitation place, but just with your loyalties. And I was like, well, I kind of love that, because there were so many people from the Empire that truly did think that they were doing the right thing, because they were indoctrined. And of course, once the Empire fell, it's kind of like, well, what do you, like, how do you move forward? Like, how do your beliefs move forward? And knowing that they go to this rehabilitation center to get rechecked, and then sent into here, and then go through a program and everything, I thought that was really kind of cool. Because, like, yeah, the Empire would have massacred. I mean, the First Order definitely does that. They're like, oh, Resistance, kapoom. New Republic, kapow. Like, this
is true, but we do have a couple of points made in the comments that I was going to come to, but I'm going to let them get to it. They still number them like stormtroopers.
They do.
They still only give them numbers.
L52. I'm not gonna lie, I thought the girl was gonna be like, and when they said M68, I'm like, girl, they could have said M69. But they didn't.
Like, to be fair, they're there, like, and you could see it from the doctor. He's like, I could do so much more to help, but he's just doing admin.
And then they also said that they have to stay in their compound. They have to stay in their confined areas. Like, they can't. They're not allowed. They're not to leave. And I'm just like, so yeah, they are kind of once again slaves to the New Republic. But I
guess because they're like, well, you served the Empire. And it's just like, yeah, but everybody needed a job.
Yeah, the guys building the bathrooms on the Death Star needed a job. I still think about that all the time. Like, well, sucks to all the people who was handling the plumbing of, like, their work just went to shit, literally.
Yeah, very possibly, and that's probably how she gets through as well, because although she just seems like a psychopath, which I do enjoy a good psychopath, I'm not going to lie. And the fact that obviously she's been able to pull the wool over a lot of people's eyes. But the minute she was just like, I can help you, I know where all this stuff is, I'm like, don't do it. Don't do it,
It
Doctor.
felt very sus from the beginning. I mean, even like when he was saying like, yeah, like the best thing I missed from the Empire were the crackers. I'm like,
What? And then she just magics out of her arse a big box of crackers.
I'm just like, so this is so sus. Like
Yeah.
I just like, it felt like it just felt too good to be true during
Yeah.
that entire part. I'm just like, oh wow, like, you know, they're probably gonna like, you know, no one's getting shot. Like even when they were on the train and I thought they were about to like get the freaking like asses kicked out of them, they didn't. Nothing happened, and it wasn't until like they finally got all their stuff. She started hearing the sirens, and she even knew the direction to go in because she's like, I think
Oh
like
no,
she
she
knew
had that
everything.
all set up. She
all
had that
set
set
up.
up 1,000%. Because the minute she walked outside, she joined them.
Mm-hmm. Well, and he said, they said something. They said his number, like L52, like stay where you are, but didn't say her number at all.
No,
and I was just like,
means,
you fuck. I know this is your channel, but I said the C word very loudly when watching that part. And I was just like, oh, I was so excited because like she was a very attractive woman. And I was just like, yes, I love seeing like someone that can have fun in Star Wars and just like, it felt like I was seeing like, it felt like I was seeing like a Friends episode, but Star Wars edition. Like, oh, we're just chilling in these places. We're going to a festival story here.
Having ice cream.
I like having ice cream, seeing kids play, see some magic. It felt very like calming. And then it also reminded me like, wow, like obviously it's called Star Wars. So there has to be a war somewhere. But I just realized I'm so used to violence in Star Wars. There's never a time that I'm just like, oh, this is nice and peaceful. Like there's no, it's like kind of a treat when I get that kind of scene.
It was a treat. It was a treat to see what the New Republic is building after the tyranny of the Empire.
Mm-hmm.
But there are problems.
Oh, 100%.
And, you know, the fact is that she's fried his brain.
I yelled it so loud. Because I was just like, at first, I thought she was going to enter the room and do something in there. It didn't hit me until she then moved her arm. I'm like, oh man, this bitch is going to do it. This girl is going to do it. And she just cranked it up to 1,000. I'm just like, you're going to kill him. Like, if he's not dead, then like he's going to die. Like,
so he did tell that Mon Cala that it was a trap, which was
that was definitely a hint. I love that. I love that.
Now this all leads back. This is interesting because I've seen a lot of back and forth discussions about how, oh look, they're trying to crowbar in this cloning thing because they need to prove the sequel's right, blah 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 blah. You know, hating on the sequels like people enjoy doing. Are they having to do this whole cloned thing because we need to prove that how Palpatine was able to come back? The thing is, I think what people don't really remember or don't know maybe is that even in the expanded universe, it was all about cloning. Like the books, even the best books, the Heir to the Empire books, all about cloning Luke Skywalker, cloning Palpatine again. Like this is nothing new. The whole the dude cloned an entire army. Of course, there's going to be more cloning aspects to this, and it's not just to say, "Oh, look how Palpatine returned in the sequels." It's been a running theme through Star Wars. Anytime it comes down to this era, there is cloning involved.
100%, because Kaminoan research was not destroyed. I mean, yes, Kamino was destroyed, but there's Kaminoans that escaped. There is, knowledge that's still there. It's just kind of like
now. This is where it gets super interesting, right? Because the Bad Batch is starting to go into that part of it in their story.
Still haven't seen the last couple of episodes.
Last one was a filler, but wasn't bad. It wasn't a bad episode. It was just filler. But there's been a lot of talking about the cloning stuff, Kamino, the Kaminoans and where their research is going. So the Bad Batch is almost running along the same storyline, just in a very, very different time frame. Yeah, time period. And it's quite interesting to see. It's just like this has all been in there always. And like Matt says, in Dark Empire 1 and 2, if you don't know that, it's a comic book in which, from what I remember, can't always remember everything, Luke turns to the dark side. He doesn't mean to, but he actually ultimately turns to the dark side. And it's where that story would go if Luke joined his father. And there's a lot of cloning going on. It's cloning. It's all Star Wars is. It's just a bunch of clones all the time.
So I had a moment. I don't know if it's because I was just watching on my phone, so I don't know if I was like really paying attention. But I swear, and someone please like help me think, like, at least validate my theory. And if it's not him, then that's fine. I deadass thought when we saw the doctor giving his speech for the first time and there was somebody walking in to sit down, I deadass thought that was Daniel Logan as Boba Fett. For a split second, it looked like him. And I'm just like, it looks like him. Is that Boba? Is Boba here? Like, but then I'm just like, no, that's impossible because like at this point it's Tamora Morrison. And we've seen him before, and he's old.
We've seen him like months before.
I don't know. I think I got really excited that it could have been him, just because they were talking about cloning, and he, his father was the prototype for the clones in general. I
mean, I suppose that's true. But they like it's always all about cloning. Like in the expanded universe, the reason that Mara Jade was able to break her indoctrination programming is by killing a cloned version of Luke Skywalker that was cloned from his hand, that was cut off at Bespin. So for those people that are going like, oh, they're just adding cloning to make the sequels work, it's always been there. It's a theme, and if anything, they're just using it in a different way. It's still the same. It's just done in a different way. But I'm really intrigued because I think that Moff Gideon's behind a lot of this, and I don't.
Well, yeah, we only have heard rumors as to where he's gone. I mean, they even said they're like this room. I don't think he's gone at all. I think he's somewhere that they're hiding him. In the meantime. And speaking of Moff Gideon, to those watching that are going to Star Wars Celebration, I am so sorry for those that got Friday tickets only and was going to go see Giancarlo Esposito because he's no longer doing his meet and greet that day.
And neither is Katie Sackhoff.
Yeah.
They've both clearly got Mandalorian plans.
Yeah, something's brewing because everyone's saying online they're just like, that's so sketchy why they would take them two out specific. It was very, very sketchy, but yeah. I do want to see him again. I do. I mean, I'm not saying like he's not my favorite character in Mandalorian, but he was the most interesting character I had seen. I was witnessing in season 1. I was just like, somebody that's so obsessed with the Empire that decides to kind of like just pick up the pieces from where it ended to try to like push his own agenda. I did like I'm not gonna lie, I did like his armor. It was obviously
his cape was insane.
Oh, I love a good cape in Star Wars. It's Kylo's cape, his cape. Oh my god, they're just capes. I love them. I'm a very big fan. Yeah. They said that Gideon could have escaped.
I think because of the type of person that Moff Gideon has been portrayed to be, he's quite obsessive.
Very obsessive.
I think he was the reason those TIE fighters were all up in Mandalore. And I think he's got more to do with that than you know. And probably because he's obsessed with now Din, getting Grogu, Bo-Katan, and the Darksaber. And that's where his focus is.
And they're all together at the moment.
Exactly. And all of a sudden, like, an entire fleet of TIE fighters or TIE interceptors turn up. And TIE bombers as well.
Oh my god, just destroying the hell out of Bo's home. I was just like, at first when I saw the TIE bombers, I'm just like, they're not going to do that. They're not going to.
Oh,
Oh, they did.
They wiped her home off. So she's got nowhere to go. So that's the other thing. It's the other reason why she's going to stay with the Mandalorians, because she doesn't have a home now.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what else can she do except follow the way? You know.
That's true. That's true, and it's kind of once again, it's just kind of interesting to see it because you know, she was not like her sister at all.
Right.
She didn't want to get into the politics of it all. She just wanted to kind of keep the fighting way of her family, like, or the tradition that she was brought up in, and I guess like the essence of what Mandalore was alive, instead of like what her sister kind of turned the planet into. And
at the end of the day, they're a fighting people.
They are a fighting people.
That's what they've always done from the beginning. So I think what had happened to them in the Clone Wars was they'd become very just normal people, and that's not what the Mandalorians stand for. That's not what they're there for.
That's what her sister did. I mean, her sister made it into a passive planet to a point that it was literally a neutral planet in the Republic. Like, they did not have a full seat in the Senate because they were not a part of the Republic. They were not a separatist. They kept it neutral. And literally, I remember that whole episode of Satine, like when they were on the ship there, and then just like trying to figure out, like, Satine's like, I'm a part of a neutral planet. Like, you can't bring your Republic war to my doorstep and expect me to comply. Like, and that's what, when I finally saw like how, like, this, like, basically when the show The Mandalorian started and just seeing the history of what Mandalorians were, I'm just like, wow, as much as I thought I loved Mandalore from Clone Wars, I feel like I've been gypped.
Yeah, for sure. Like, even if you go into, obviously we all know that I love the Knights of the Old Republic games, and you go to Mandalorian those, and the Mandalorian people are fighters. That's all they do. In fact, I am repping my new Darth Revan t-shirt.
I love it.
Yeah, it's pretty sweet.
I just realized I would have to start KOTOR from the beginning all over again. Oh, yeah, sure. Fuck. No, now that I have my PC. Like, it's now, I was playing on my, oh god. I hate restarting.
That's all right. You weren't that far into it anyway.
I know, but that means I have to do everything. That's me on Lego Star Wars. Is where I'm stuck on a door for Phantom Menace. Okay. That's where I'm stuck because it's not letting me do the thing.
Sure.
But yeah.
So, you know, and I think that's something that Bo-Katan is beginning to see. She's seeing that these people that she thought were just like religious nutcases actually follow more of what she believes in than I think she realizes. Mm-hmm. And that's another thing. But we did also see at the end when they're all like, oh, yay, this is all great. Paz Vizsla is not happy.
Oh, he's just pissed. He's just like...
He believes that he's the rightful ruler of Mandalore because...
Yeah, because the Vizsla family believes they're the rightful ruler.
Jim says exactly what I said, you know?
Yeah, it wasn't... I mean, she lost so many people, and it's hard to move forward when the rest of your family is gone.
Yeah.
Like, and I felt like... I mean, when I first met her in the Clone Wars, I didn't see this part of her. I didn't even really, obviously we didn't find out till later that she is Satine's sister, but like, I didn't feel like she cared about her family. Like she didn't care. She cared about keeping the essence of what she had, like what she believed Mandalore was alive, and just ignoring what her sister was doing. But once her sister died, I think Corky died, because I did not see Corky again. Which I'm still once again confused, because Satine was her aunt, was his aunt. Yep. So whose child are you? Like, But then there is the rumors of Satine.
It's
and Obi-Wan
Kenobi's
child.
child. Come on. They look exactly the same. They look exactly the same.
I want, you know what? Because I do kind of plan on going to the Clone Wars like 15th anniversary panel. I do want to ask, like, if they do fan questions, I just want to ask them, like, can you confirm that Corky is Obi-Wan's son?
1,000%.
And if they say yes, I'm gonna be like,
even Matt, it's true, like blatantly. That's when interesting that actually, because when the Force Awakens came out and we didn't know what Rey's lineage was, I was always like, she's a Kenobi. She's Corky's daughter. In my head, that made perfect sense. I'm like, Kenobi had a child with Satine. That all happened. He went off. He's had a child. She's a Kenobi. It would have made perfect sense. They went in a different way, but they should listen to me.
Well, to be fair,
bye, Sheena.
Bye, Sheena.
Enjoy.
To be fair, we didn't see obviously the result of what happened on Mandalore till season 7, which didn't come out till 2020. So that's 5 years after Force Awakens came out. I thought I was on the same because I remember when everyone was just like, "Who's Rey's parents?" I'm like, "Oh, it's this person." I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think I was on the side of like I thought she was Kenobi's.
Yeah, it made sense.
It just made sense because I didn't think, I'm like, there's no way this woman has anything to do with the Skywalker family.
No, because they would know
her. Yeah, obviously. But
it would have opened up so much, and it would have connected the sequels to the Clone Wars really nicely.
Yeah, because it would have been like, of course, the dyad or the two people against each other is Anakin Skywalker's grandson and Obi-Wan Kenobi's granddaughter. That would have made all the sense in the world, but no, she's a Palpatine.
Yeah. No, I don't hate that. I don't like. I really, really like The Rise of Skywalker. I like the whole thing.
I love the movie. It made sense to me because I remember, I don't know if it's everyone's theory or everyone's thoughts about this, but when they were trying to figure out, like, well, who's Anakin's dad? Because, you know, she just became Mary Magdalene out of a sudden and became pregnant out of nowhere. But I'm just like, oh, it's Palpatine, because Palpatine influence, can use the power of the dark side to influence the midichlorians to create a baby. Yeah. And I'm just like, he did it once again, like the pervert he is, and impregnated this probably sorry woman, like this. Oh God, I wish I would have known who it was. I'm like, this poor woman
who then they have a child,
and then that child marries somebody else, and then they have a kid, and that kid's Rey, and it's just like,
there's a whole story there that you're just hop, skip, and fucking off. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, whereas you make her a Kenobi, everything, it's already been built in. It's there. But hey, you know what? Fine. It's fine. I'm sure it's fine.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, in my mind, like, I'm married to Kylo Ren.
Yeah, exactly.
So just kind of like, Rey is irrelevant to me.
Rey who? Right?
Right. Actually, like, she's right here.
Yeah.
I was showing these to Jim earlier for those watching. Like, all our passes for Celebration just got mailed out for those that decided to get them shipped. And I decided to scavenge or like find my old passes from Celebration. So I have like mine from 2012, which is literally, it's Carrie, like straight up Carrie in her like funny ass way. And I love it because her crown, like in between her buns, says princess, like a little princess party. Love it. And then of course my 4-day pass from Celebration in 2017 is Rey. I don't know who signed this. I don't know why it was signed. I'm pretty sure I didn't get this signed initially.
So it could be anyone.
It could be any. It's not my signature. It's not. I'm trying to think who I could have met. It's not Anthony Daniels. I don't know.
But yeah, the tickets are actually finally making their way out to people. I mean, thank
I was
Christ,
getting
because we've got
worried.
like 3 weeks until the event.
I was getting worried mainly because I'm like, I leave technically a week before the event. And I'm like, if these things arrive April 1st, I'm going to be pissed because I'm going to be on a flight to London.
Well, you would have had to go to
Will Call, which I do have a few friends that opt out for that. They're just like, we're just going to go pick it up a Will Call. I'm like, not saying that's a bad idea. Like, do what you want. Like, it's your time. But I don't want to already queue up for something when I know I already have to queue up for security to get to X, Y, and Z. I kind of am happy they're doing the lottery system again for the panels, for the major panels at least, because I'm just like, oh, because if we get into the Lucasfilm, whether it's the actual room stage or the stages, then we know we have to get up pretty like early for that one to get there in time. But if we don't get it, we can show up later than that.
Whenever, yeah, exactly.
Right.
Yeah. No, I definitely think the whole lottery system is a much better way to do it.
Yeah, because like at Celebration 2017, I had to get up at 4:00 in the morning to then wait in security. No, to then wait outside. So security doors can open at 7 a.m. And then everyone has to get through security and then get into the line to get into the stages. And if you didn't make it into the room for the stages, you were in the live stream rooms. I made it into the stages, thank God. But once again, that was at 4:00 in the morning. I showed up with no makeup on. I did my makeup in line. I looked like people were looking at me in line. They're like, are you like literally doing a full face of makeup? I'm like, you think I was going to do this at home?
Yeah. I would have had to get up at 2.
So I'm happy they're doing, because that means I could sleep.
We can just kind of figure it out as we go along. Did you put your name down for all 5 panels? Because to be fair, as much as I want to be in the Kenobi one, it wasn't like my goal. I only put in my stuff I only put in my email for the Lucasfilm one on Friday, Ahsoka on Saturday, because duh, and then the villains of the sequel for Sunday, just because I love Gwendolyn Christie and Ian McDiarmid so much. So yeah, and Andy Serkis is going to be in this one, so I didn't get Andy Serkis the last time, so I'm going to get him this time. Nice. We're down for all of them except the Bad Batch one.
I'm really curious, and Simon's going to be like, who the fuck, pardon my French, who in the F is signing up for the Bad Batch?
Yeah. When I saw all the tickets and all the pictures on the tickets, I was like,
and you saw Omega?
If I get Omega, I'm going to be livid.
Well, I'm just then happy. I'm really, because I remember someone was doing it on the Star Wars Celebration Facebook, that they made a bingo card of what each of the things were going to be. And of course, someone put like Omega as the kids' 4-day pass or something like that.
That would make sense. That
makes sense because she's a child. You get the child pass. It works.
Yeah.
But if one of my day passes is Omega,
I'm just glad. Like I know I'm getting Mando, so I'm like, yeah, that's a good one. Like I would have liked Luke or Ahsoka.
I really would have wanted it. I still don't know. I know two of the 4 I'm getting. I know I'm getting Han, and I'm getting another Leia. So like that's I'm happy about. I felt like they did such a disservice by not having Kylo on one of them.
Yeah.
Because I was just like, you didn't. Okay, you have Vader. Sid would
have been worse.
Sid is worse.
She's not on as part.
She's not relevant enough to be on the card.
Omega is the only part of the Bad Batch that's featured on those passes. All the rest of them are really good characters.
Right.
Because even Chopper's on there.
Yeah. Well, and then of course, did I send you that Chopper TikTok or something about Chopper?
Yeah, you did.
I saw that and immediately thought about you. I'm like, I gotta send this to Jim.
Yeah, I love Chopper. He's my favorite. We've gone off on a tangent, and I ultimately I'm going to say this about this week's Mandalorian. I really, really enjoyed it. I enjoyed how different it was in the middle. And I think what that does is it builds up for what is coming.
And what's important in the story too, because
Yeah.
like you don't put something like that in the middle of an episode for it just to not mean anything in the end. Like
Yeah.
there is a purpose for every single thing we saw.
Yeah.
And something like grand is coming our way.
Because this whole series could not just be about the Mandalorians coming back to Mandalore. Because it's too basic, it's too simple, it's
too predictable. Like at that point, like you're just like, okay, so we know the rest of the series, we know the rest of the episode, we know that at one point, Paz Vizsla is gonna be like, okay, I'm challenging, like the Mando, like I'm challenging this person. I want to be. I just felt it feels too.
And then Bo-Katan's gonna rock up on the mythosaur, and everyone's gonna be like, well, she's the queen.
Yeah.
So there has to be more to this, and I think ultimately I think we're going to see some infighting within the Mandalorians, but ultimately they will all join forces to fight off Moff Gideon and the remnants of the Empire.
And that random pirate.
And then Grand Admiral Thrawn's going to appear.
I would hope so. Because like once again, I say this in every single Star Wars show that we see. The Mandalorian hints at somebody that's going to have their own show. We've already seen Ahsoka. Yep. We know she's getting her own show. We know Admiral Thrawn is going to be a character in her show. I 100% am with you that I think Thrawn is going to show up this season.
He's going to be our tease for the Ahsoka.
He's going to be our tease or our cameo or major cameo this season.
He's going to be the one that at the end of it, where Moff Gideon's beaten and bruised, he goes back to his ship.
And it's Thrawn.
And then Thrawn stood there, face away from the camera, I think, as well. Just stood there with his hands behind his back in his white uniform. And you just see him from behind and you just
see blue.
And that's it.
You just see blue and that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's going to happen. I think Thrawn's definitely going to be the character because it's either that or it's Sabine.
See, yeah, I mean, the more I see it, I'm like, yeah, I could see Sabine.
It's either going to be one of those two characters, just because the actors have been confirmed. Like they already know which actor's playing who, so they could have obviously. And at this point, we all know that Star Wars is very good, just like Marvel, at hiding secrets. Like they have these under so many NDAs. It's scary, which is why I'm like, one day, like when I want to work for Lucasfilms, I'm gonna be like, can I keep that kind of secret? I don't know. Yeah, like for example, like just even audition for some of these shows sometimes, like you have to sign an NDA before you audition.
Yeah.
So like they're keeping under wraps as to who is going to be, except for the fucking acolyte that whatever asshole decided to release those pictures. Big F you, because I was really hoping that to be a surprise.
See, I've seen a lot of people say this as well. That Ezra is going to be by the side of Grand Admiral Thrawn, and I don't buy it.
Oh, I think there's too much good in Ezra for him to be that broken to turn. Yeah. Like, I think if you were to turn, it would be to obviously manipulate him to come back to the light side, but no, Ezra's too good.
But if anything, I think Ezra is going to be not in a good way.
Oh, homie's gonna be battered and bruised.
But I think Thrawn's gonna have him locked up somewhere, and that's gonna be the point of the Ahsoka show, is them trying to rescue Ezra. Ezra is a good boy.
Did you say it's almost as good as Omega?
Almost as good as Omega. Yeah, it's an okay plot twist. I don't think it's necessary, because then who brings Ezra back to the light? It's not Ahsoka.
Yeah.
It's not Ahsoka, because we've already seen Ezra save Ahsoka, so it's too obvious for her to save him right back. Now, I think, I'm just going to say it, probably because this is my hope and my dream, that we get in some form Force Ghost Kanan.
I mean, to be fair, not saying that he wasn't, because he was a live action character, but you know, when we saw when we saw once again Qui-Gon and Kenobi as a Force ghost. Obviously, Liam Neeson played Qui-Gon in Phantom Menace, so that's obviously the reason. But obviously, it's possible to bring back a Force ghost, Kanan, 100%. I will say this, though. Would it be Freddie Prinze Jr.? I personally, from a production standpoint, I would love him to be in it. I don't think he will because he is shit-talked Star Wars so much. Not saying that he hates it, but he criticizes so much of what he is because he was trained by Dave Filoni and George Lucas.
True, but he did lend his voice to the end of Rise of Skywalker.
As he, well, I'm not saying that he hates it, but like when a man's offered a paycheck.
But you see, I could see maybe not even Force Ghost because Force voice, like,
because we've seen it before. Like if it was gonna be the same, the voice actor being the actress, it would have been Ashley Eckstein being Ahsoka.
Yeah.
But obviously, that ain't happening, and obviously for continuity purposes, Freddie Prinze Jr. does not look like Kanan. He is tan.
Yeah.
That boy is tan. And I'm not going to, now with, most shows being very woke and being very aware of how to, hire their actors, I'm pretty sure they wouldn't hire a white guy to portray a dark-skinned fella.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good call. So I think, if it's going to be anything, we might get a voice of Kanan. And if we do, I'm going to be in pieces. I'm going to be in pieces. Yeah, exactly. It has to be. It can't be anybody else. Yeah. I mean, if the paycheck's there, you know what I mean?
But in a lot of times, that's what, I hate. Like, a lot of actors will say, I think Rachel Zegler said it for DC because I think she was in Shazam or something like that. She goes, what got you into DC? Are you a big comic book fan? She goes, no, I was offered a paycheck.
Yeah.
I needed a job.
Yep.
So.
And why not? Especially if you're asked back to just do voice lines of a character that you've done already. It's that's a no-brainer, isn't it?
Yeah, at that point, you're just okay, so how much are we negotiating this time for 5 lines?
So what I did actually recently, today, in fact, I watched, do you know the Michael Rosenbaum podcast, Inside of You?
I do not.
Okay, so Michael Rosenbaum played Lex Luthor in Smallville, right? He has his own podcast now. He does another one about Smallville, but this one, he just interviews. It's not even an interview. He talks to people, and he's had tons of people on there.
Is it like a recap podcast?
No. So he does a Smallville recap podcast with Tom Welling, who played Clark Kent. But this is this one, Inside of You, is just where he sits down and he chats to people, and he's chatted to pretty much everybody at this point. And he had Sam Witwer on last week.
Oh shit!
And it was so good. It was so good because it's not just let's talk about the things that you've done. It's very much let's talk about who you are as a person and how you grew up and everything. So it's people more laying stuff bare and
I love it. I love podcasts like that.
Honest and open about their upbringing and their mental health struggles, and there's a lot of focus on things like that.
Yeah.
And Sam Witwer was on it, and I love that guy anyway. I think he's incredibly talented, and he's played.
I definitely will have to watch it or listen to it because
my favorite characters of all time, and to just listen to him be the person that I expected him to be was really, really nice. But he does sit on there and he does start to do some of his voices. He's able to do 2 different versions of Palpatine, which is obviously why they got him to do the Emperor's voice.
You know who's a voice actor that many people not sleep on because he's obviously very talented for a reason, but seeing his literal mastery in person is unlike anything you've ever seen before. James Arnold Taylor, who plays Obi-Wan Kenobi and Plo Koon. Back when Disney used to have Star Wars weekends, James had this portion of the weekend where he would just talk about voice acting. It was like a voice acting thing. and he was able to do 75 different characters, varying so many different, like, multi-universes, Disney, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, like comic books, everything, anime. And he did 75 characters in 5 minutes.
Wow. And
he would tell you, like, if I did this and I went here on my left, I would sound like this character. If I went, and I was just like amazed. And I'm just like, this is like a voice actor that slept on, kind of, because when you think of Clone Wars voice actors, you immediately think of Ashley, you immediately think of Sam, you immediately think of D. Bradley Baker because of all the clones he voices, but like, and obviously James as well. But James is such a talented guy, so I'm kind of like really excited to take a picture with him again at Celebration. But no, a really good another podcast. If anyone like that's really good. I'm obviously, this is, I guess, more towards my generation because I grew up with a lot of the original Disney Channel shows that came up throughout Disney, like in the late 90s, early 2000s. So many of the actors I used to admire, like, are featured on this podcast with Chrissy Carlson Romano, who voices Kim Possible. And she was also part of the Even Stevens show, if you guys know what that is. And she has on so many different, like, 90s to early 2000, like, voice actors, child actors. And they once again talk about, like, their upbringing, their mental health, like, how child acting was to them compared to is now. Like, I guess nowadays they're much stricter on kids because of labor laws, whereas back then a producer could touch you and no one would say anything.
Phil Lamar's another great one. He gets everywhere, from Futurama to DC to just absolutely everywhere. But the thing is obviously Sam is an actor in his own right as well. Like, he's done loads of stuff. Camera. Like, he was in Being Human for 4 seasons. He was in Smallville for a season. He was in Supergirl for a season. Like, you know, he's not just Starkiller, and he's not just the voice of Maul. He's done all of these other things. So it's just like, for him, he started as an actor and transitioned into being a voice actor. So for him, but like, he's incredible because he sits there and goes between, like, Revenge of the Sith Palpatine to Return of the Jedi Palpatine, and you're like, there's no difference. But when he does it, you're like, oh my god, there is a difference, and he sounds spot on. But yeah, it's a very good podcast. Imagine if now there's no Sith yet, so many untrained Force users, there's no agent. See, I could see that. That's kind of what happened in the books, to be fair. Like, Luke began his Jedi Academy and started searching out, like, Force users, and there's loads of them. And when you've got Force users, some of them are good, some of them are going to be bad. And what happens is, essentially at this point, the rule of 2 is gone.
Doesn't exist because, like, because, like, what I was going to say is, the dark side is kind of taught to you. Like, you don't go, like, if you search out being bad, then you're just a bad person. Like, you're just using your like, yes, you're on the dark side, but you're using it mainly for yourself. Versus like, you wanting to be a Sith Lord, you are going to somebody to be trained as a Sith Lord, and you're a Sith apprentice for, like, you're seeking it out. Versus like, once again, like, if there's no one to seek out, you're just a bad egg.
Yes. But that's where the Sith came from in the first place. Like,
because there was multiple about them.
Well, they were a race of people originally, and then it just became a moniker of people who used the dark side of the Force. And before Darth Bane, there was hundreds of thousands of them. There was an entire academy on Korriban teaching the ways of the Sith. So you can see that happening again in the future. Like, if they jump with these movies and they jump 30 years down the line, you could see tons of Sith everywhere, at which point it opens up all of the stories to go wherever you want, because you don't need just 2 anymore. They won't be as powerful, because that's the point. You know, when there's only 2 of you, there's only 2 of you tapping into all of that dark side Force. But it would make it more interesting in a storyline aspect, in my opinion. Anyway, it's just my opinion.
I would have to reread the Book of Sith. I'm not gonna lie. I remember reading the book, starting it, and getting very much like like Mein Kampf vibes from it. And I was
for sure. There's a lot.
And I literally had to close it and like put it down. I'm just like,
I'm gonna move away from this.
I'm gonna stay away from this. You know, as a Jew, I'm just like, this is a little bit triggering to me.
Have you ever read the Darth Bane trilogy?
I have not. So like once again, like when I come over, like give me the book, I'll read it. If you have it.
I do have it somewhere. It's a trilogy. It's my favorite trilogy.
Okay, so I'll definitely take a gander at it when I'm there.
Darth Bane's my favorite Sith of all time. And he's the reason that everything is how it is.
The Rule of Two? Was that him?
Yes. Yeah, he is the reason for the Rule of Two. Before him, it didn't exist. And his story and his apprentice, it's fire. Everything's good about it.
Did you really? Wait. Wait. Oh, you did. Oh my God. Hello. Oh, love it. Can I heart this multiple times? How many times can I?
Probably just once. Just keep doing it so you unlike it and like it and unlike it and like it.
Okay. I'm unlike now because I'm going to know the hell I'm busy with these notifications.
So next episode, episode 12, we will be over on Nat's channel.
We will, and it will be the last weekend that will be on my channel, because then the following weekend this is how I have to talk to you. We'll talk about it probably after. But I'll be traveling on the following Saturday. After that, I'll be heading to London. So I mean, I could do the podcast like while I'm at the airport.
I mean, we might give you a break that week, and maybe I'll get somebody else on.
Or I was just gonna kind of offer it. We could do it the next day when I land in London.
Well, to be fair, like the following week, we're gonna have to do it in person anyway, because we'll have been at Celebration all day.
True.
We can do it. We can do it on a Sunday if you want to do it when you get here.
Yeah, because then we'll
fucking ruined.
Oh, I'm coming. I'm gonna make sure I'm knocked out that entire flight. Like And then waking up as if it was 6:30 in the morning.
Yeah.
It's like,
but that's cool, because then what we can do is we can, on that day we can chill, we can watch it again, get our brains all, and then we'll do this, but both in the same place. I have no idea how to set that up, but I'm sure I'll figure it out.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
We will figure it out.
We will figure it out. But that's it for this episode of Rebel Base Radio. Thank you, everybody that joined us this evening. You're all amazing. And thank you for everybody that subscribed to my channel. I've just hit 1,200 subscribers, which is
amazing.
Incredible.
That is amazing.
Super pleased with that.
Very proud of you.
Thank you very much. It's taken a while, but I feel like my subscribers are the right people. It's not just random people. Like everybody that subscribes to it seems to want to. So I'm like,
but that's the whole point, and that's what's really good about having fans and followers like that. I feel like, so when I go to look at my subscribers on YouTube, a lot of my subscribers, surprisingly enough, came from when I actually did my YouTube channel back in 2013, and it was a Disney college program vlog channel.
Nice.
So a lot of my viewers, what is going on? Or like, why? How am I still subscribed? I don't even think they even know they're subscribed to me still.
Yeah.
And then I have some of my followers that are like actual Star Wars fans.
It's just how it goes, isn't it?
Right.
I've been doing this for like 2 years now, so I'm like, that's a really nice number to be at for 2 years. It's nothing too crazy. It doesn't mean I'm not pressured. I don't feel pressured,
You're not overwhelmed.
Not at all. And I still love doing my videos, and I've got a ton of stuff coming as well, like mostly Lego at the moment, I'm not going to lie. I seem to have gotten into a major Lego kick, and I'm all about it. So be with us next week over on Nat's channel. It'll be the same time again for our American friends, I think, because that's the weekend that our clocks change, so it'll be back to normal.
Okay, so you'll be back at 9.
And you'll be at 5.
We'll be back at 5. Okay.
You'll be back at... So next week, I'm at 9 in the UK. It's 5 in your area. And then, I mean, it doesn't really matter the week after that because we'll be in the same place.
Yeah.
Yes. So until then, thank you, everybody, for joining us. I've been Jim. That's been Nat. And we will catch you on the next episode of Rebel Base Radio.
May the force be with you.